So we changed the schedule up just a little bit. So we're reviewing today. You have this problem quiz tomorrow, okay? And then you have exam part 1 on Friday. So what does that mean to you? Part 2 will be on Monday. Okay? Now, keep in mind, what do you think part 1 is? And I'll tell you. Yeah. So, like for instance, a question that might say the blank is in column 7. And then is it letter A, alkali metals, B, alkaline earth metals, C, transition metals, or D, halogens? D. That's D. Column 7 is the halogens. Questions like that. And it could also be a vocabulary term as well. Okay? Because vocabulary is always going to be an important aspect of whatever it is that you want to be doing. Because some terms can be quite vague. What is a turnover? When you travel, when you have an offensive foul, when you throw it to the other team, when you step out of bounds. And, okay, right. However it is that if you had the ball, it's going to the other team. That is a turnover, okay? So one definition can mean many things, okay? So, for instance, if you want to do some decorating that looks really, really neat and professional, okay? You have to use your imagination here. This is a little bigger, okay? Here we have a type of wood screw. Then what is this called? Not a circle, it's a washer, okay? Then if you are putting the washer on, again, this isn't very big, I get that. You're putting the washer on this bolt. If you want it to look really nice, you just don't maybe put a regular hex nut on there. Maybe you want it to have a cap on there. But if you go into a hardware store and if you say, where are your acorn nuts? Not like nuts that you're going to eat, okay? Hex nuts that look like acorns. They have a cap over the top. That's what makes it look better. So if you walk in and say, where are your hex nuts that has the funny looking thing on top? They're going to look at you and say, what? Okay? So if you say, where are your acorn nuts? Oh yeah, well they're over in aisle 6, halfway down the aisle, right side. Okay? Is that the only type of hex nut there is? No. What are some other types? What's the thread like? Well, they're not what you think. You have coarse threaded. You have fine threaded. Well, if you want to use this wrench, 9/16 is probably about the same size as what? Sometimes it's not measured in fractions. Maybe it's millimeters. Okay? So where are your 9 millimeter hex nuts? Where are your 9/16 inch hex nuts? Where are your 1/2 inch lock nuts? Okay? Because what does a lock nut actually do? It's got that plastic tread on there that actually locks the hex nut in place so it won't come loose. Yes, sir?
I'm actually not going to be in there today. We're going to work on those projects again in my room. So
okay.
For science. So
we're trying to make these people sound like they're not idiots. Okay? Education, vocabulary is always important.
There's always a good goal to have.
Okay? So, like for instance, what we say, 5 different types of hex nuts. Lock, coarse, fine, And then don't use the hex nut with the funny looking cap on top. Acorn nuts. Like I said, if you walk into Ace Hardware or whatever else, where are your acorn nuts? Oh yeah, they're in this aisle. But if you say, where is your hex nut that has the funny looking dome on top? They might understand what you're saying, but yeah. Vocabulary, always important.
Great education.
Like common wires, neutral wires, right. You're going to use that in electricity. You're not just limited to physical science using vocabulary. If you do wiring with Mr. Williamson, you're going to need to know that.
Great skills.
Electricity, it's shocking, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yep. We told a funny. Okay.
Something's happening.
Yes, ma'am. So keep in mind, yes, that's what you're doing on Friday. General questions with your vocabulary.
Can we get our periodic tables?
All right, so moving forward and have that confidence. Okay, do you get to use your periodic table? Well, that is perhaps a rhetorical question. Okay, and what I mean by that is, let's say, for instance, we are doing element, I'll just use this as an example. Let's say we're doing element 84, polonium, okay? And we're just gonna do the configuration for that, okay? So polonium, oops. Okay, 84, okay? So which noble gas would you use for this? You're right, why? Radon is too big. That's right. So we're going to use xenon, which means you are already up to element 54. So it's even at this point, you can look at this and say, you need a total of how many of these subatomic particles? 30. Okay? So what period is xenon in? Okay, so it's in the 5th period. What block is xenon in? P block. What column in the P block? So that means the 5th period and the D block in the 6th column is all full. The slide rule tells you what to put next, and that is what? Okay, 6S what? 2. Now remember, that's telling you how many they can hold. Sometimes you don't put all of them in there. So, what comes after 6S2?
Is it 4S? Yeah, 4F14.
Okay. Then it's probably, is it 5D? Okay. And chances are we're putting all 10 in, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I bet you it's this guy, right?
Yep. 64.
Now, it says it can hold 6. But what column is polonium in?
4.
Okay? So that means if we add these together now, 14, 28, 28 plus 2, 30, 30 plus 54 gives you 84. So that must be right. We still have people turning this in. Why is that? It technically, you could say that it's right, but, oops, I got it. But why would we say we're not going to accept this?
Because that was found on Google.
Because you just as an individual put, what is the configuration for polonium? So what happens is the internet shoots this out. Notice it's the same, isn't it? Which one are you using the slide rule for? The top or the bottom one? Okay. This is your slide rule. This is just saying, okay, I don't know how to do this. I'm not going to learn how to do this. I'm just going to type it in and see what Google tells me, and this is what Google says. So when we ask, can we use the slide rule? I say we can, but some people choose not to. So if we're choosing not to, why have the slide rule? Technically, this is really all you need right here. You don't need the slide rule.
What's easier?
Okay? So, now, if you're sitting there thinking, oh gosh, he's talking about me. Maybe we are, okay? I'm not upset about this. This is just one of them things to where, I don't think they're going to know. We're not going to find out. They're not going to know. But this is the very first red flag that comes up. Whoever this individual might be just typed it in and then just wrote down what the internet said. Okay? Is everything on the internet accurate?
No.
But this is accurate, but it's not how we taught it. Okay? And maybe when you have to take this in college, if you do, well then maybe this is how you're going to do it, but it is not right at how we want you to learn this. Okay? Sometimes we call those, let's say, bad habits. Okay? Do we have bad habits? Yes, we do. Because some people maybe choose to, and it's not just this class. If I don't find this interesting, nobody else can find this interesting. How frustrating would that be to be in band, chorus, football, basketball, track even? Well, this individual's out, they really don't care. So since they don't care, they're not going to try. So if they're not going to try, well then, what's the point in even going out there and even participating? Isn't that a bad attitude? Because in your parents' minds, don't you think if you're trying out for All-State or something like that, or participating on a team, that your parents / guardian are saying, go out and do your best? What do we say when you're doing these evaluations? Do what? Just do your best. Okay? And for when you get out on your own in society, just be who?
Yourself.
You don't know how to be anybody else. But if you try to be anybody else, that is not who you are. And guys, little practical advice. Women got 6 senses to them. They can tell when you're being not you and when you're being fake.
Oh God.
I don't know how, I don't know why, but they do.
You're fake. You're fake. Listen.
Okay? Ladies up in the splash zone, that means you're in the front row.
Yeah.
Feel free to jump in and tell me I'm wrong at any time.
That's our job. Hooray. You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. Okay. Okay? So, yes, use the slide rule to your advantage. Okay? Now, what that means is some of you might have a little more work to do, because I don't know if you want to say this is being lazy, which maybe is, but maybe it was just at the last minute. Shoot, I need to learn this and right now. Okay. So what is the difference between a bore model and a configuration? Which one's more difficult? My estimation of bore model is more difficult. Okay? We can even do that for this element. And maybe this is what confuses people. Okay? I guarantee you that these 3 numbers we are going to come in contact with again. The number 6, the number 4, and the number 6 again. Okay? We will see all 3 of those numbers come full circle. Okay? And what that means to come full circle is, who can I pick on in the front row here? Okay? So we're going to say that you're musically inclined. So you do everything that you can in music and you do very well at it. Then you graduate high school, you move on, go to college, you become a music teacher. Okay? Then everything that you did that was so successful, you are now teaching other people. You have gone full circle. Okay? So in other words, you could say it is the student is now who? The student is now the teacher. Okay?
Did you do the circle?
Kind of. Yeah. College was easier for me.
Really?
But you failed one of the classes.
You know why that is?
You only have one.
Because you don't have fake people in college. Your real friends are those that you meet when you're 18, 19, 20, 21. Don't take offense. Your classmates are probably still your friends. But your real closest friends, you might still have a few from high school, but those who you're really going to be close to are probably going to be those that you move on and learn at Southeast Tech, Mitchell Tech, Dakota State, South Dakota State, any one of those. Okay, so let's see if this comes full circle. 6, 4, and 6. Okay, so inside this nucleus,
Mom's gonna be taking my phone.
what are we going to put in here? If we're not going to, I'll just shut it. I'm not mad. I'll just shut it off now and just stop.
Can we practice the evaluation? Like the
103. I don't know. That's a lot of things.
configurations.
Really? How do you get 103? Say that again. Why are you right? It says it right there.
Oh, we're over there now. Never mind.
Okay.
That's stupid.
Huh?
Okay. Your slide rule tells you this. First energy level.
1.
1 and 2.
Okay. Second energy level.
2S2.
6.
2P6.
Okay.
Third energy level. 3S2. 3P6. 4S2. 3D10. 4P6. 5S2. 4D10. 5P6. 6S2.
Oops. That's a 2.
4F14.
Okay. Now's about the time you're going to want to stop. And let's evaluate where we are at. Okay. So you could add all these together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 2 is, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 24. For some reason I was looking, I thought I saw 3, but no, there's 4. Okay, here's the tough one.
20.
And then 20 plus 14. Okay, so add these together. And so then that's 1, that's 2, that's 4. Oh, that's not right either. So 8, 10, 2, 4. That is right. Okay. So now, remember we had said these numbers were going to come full circle. All right? How many energy levels do we have? Okay. There is our first prediction. There's the number 6. Okay? Now, after we did 4F14, what comes next?
5D10.
Okay?
64. And then we're done.
Okay? You might say, there's 2 numbers up there that we haven't accounted for. Did we really not account for them? Sure we did.
Well, actually, wait, is it balanced? Look,
Okay?
6. Yeah.
So, do we see the number 4 up there?
Yes.
That's that 4. Okay? So, where does that 6 come from? 4 plus 2 is 6.
What? I thought it was
Right? So then these two together, okay, make a bigger box, okay? So now if you add all these together, I'm willing to bet that you're going to go from 70 to 84 because we did this one and this one, right? 14 more, that gives us 84. Okay? That's maybe another thing that you guys can do. I'm just speculating. Ladies, you don't like idiots, do you?
No.
Okay? So people or guys that are pretty smart, chances are that's someone you might want to hang out with because they're smart. If they are smart, they're probably not doing dumb things. But as you grow older, you could say that maybe our frontal lobes in our brain, this is scientifically accurate, the frontal lobes in your brain maybe haven't quite developed yet. It's where you think, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but you do it anyway because we haven't thought all the way through. Okay, any questions over this? We got time for one more. Otherwise, that's all I've got. Front row, are we on the bus?
Do you want our vocab?
Second row, are we on the bus? Second row, are we on the bus? Second row. Third row. Okay. Yes. We did. Okay, well, a little more context. You need to pick an element. Yes, ma'am.
70.
Okay. You said 65? Is that dynamium, maybe? Oh, 66 is dy. 65 is what? Terbium, maybe? Okay. So if we're doing element 65, that element is what? Okay. So what noble gas are we going to use? Okay. So we're going to use a xenon core, which means we're up to which element, or which number? Okay. What can you tell me? Everything about xenon. What period is it in?
8.
What period is it in?
Oh, never mind.
5. What block is it in? Okay, what column is it in? So put those three terms together. The 5th period, the P block, and the 6th column. Once you know that, your slide rule tells you what to do next. Okay? Then what does the slide rule tell you to do? Now, how many can this hold? It can hold 14, but it doesn't mean that it's going to hold 14.
It needs to hold 9.
Okay? Because what column is TE in? You don't even have to look at the table. It's in the 9th column because we just established that right here. What is 9 plus 2 plus 54? So that's got to be right there. Now, think of how much you've grown from about the first time that you've seen this. Okay, have you closed that gap? So how do you close that gap? 1, you pay attention. 2, you respect everybody else so they can learn this. And 3, you work hard. If you do that, chances are good things are going to happen. All right, we'll catch up to you next time.